Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by the garden today. I just wanted to go over a little video for you on growing basil from seed. So we sowed 5 seeds in this little container right here. It's about a gallon to a gallon and a half. We got some nice burpee mix soil, some nice fresh compost, some nice earthworm castings from the garden that we just put on top and rubbed them in. And we're gonna grow this basil in this container. You can see how healthy it is, and it's inside my lanai because we have a lot of bugs out in the garden. So I like to start things in containers here first, and then I bring them outdoors. Now this basil plant has been growing in the lanai for its whole life. It's been getting 6 hours of full sun a day, and you can see how healthy it is. We're spraying preventatively with neem oil, which is a organic pesticide and fungicide that's great to use around the garden up until harvest time. It's really safe, and you can spray it directly on the leaves and treat in the soil for lots of bugs that you see around the garden, aphids and spider mites, especially aphids on basil. I tend to get aphids a lot on my plants here and in my soil, along with spider mites, because we live in Central Florida, Zone 9B, and it gets really hot and humid in the summer. We can only grow certain plants here, so I have to be really careful what I put in the garden as well. And I want some fresh herbs, especially in the summertime. You know, it's summer, it's time to grow. So we have this basil that's grown from seed. Now, we waited till we got a couple of sets of leaves on it. You want to germinate that seed directly in your container. Keep the soil very, very moist in sun. So your soil has to be pretty warm for seeds to germinate. If your soil is not warm, your seeds will tend not to germinate as well. And then once you get a plant that has 1 set, 2 set, 3 sets, you can go ahead and pinch down to the second set. Now each set of leaves, like this is a set, this is a node, it's called a leaf node, this is a leaf node, so that's 2, and then this was the third, which we went ahead and pinched. Now pinching just means take your scissors and go ahead, cut the stem down, and then these 2 little branches right here will grow and get big, just like you see here. Now once these get big, these side ones will shoot out as well. Once you cut that down and these start growing, the side ones will start pushing out and growing just as big as well. So you have a nice bushy plant instead of a real long and lanky plant. We do this for coleus, we do this for lavender, sage, thyme sometimes, oregano, lots of plants in the garden. You can do it to tomatoes to get a nice bushy plant as well. So this is how you grow basil and herbs. Herbs are really the same thing. Basil requires a pretty big container. They have a really big root system on them. So make sure you give them lots of room to grow. We're going to have to transplant these little guys eventually, but they can grow in here for quite a while, quite a few months. We're going to go step by step on growing basil for you guys. So once it gets bigger and we're ready to prune again and harvest some leaves, I will show you guys. You can definitely utilize any leaves you're pinching off the top there. Use them in your sauce or just dry them on the counter after you wash them off, and then you can put them in a little storage container and store them to come, so you can have herbs to come. I love having fresh herbs around the garden because I can pick them whenever I want. I can harvest them, dry them as they grow, and I'll have herbs throughout the winter time when it's really hard to grow this stuff. Now they require at least 6 hours of full sun to 8 hours of sun, and they do really well in that environment, in a hot environment. They love warm weather, and they will just flower eventually. So these are an annual, so eventually after it grows it'll definitely start to flower, and you can prevent that flowering by pinching back them blooms. If you constantly pinch back them blooms when you see them, it'll prevent flowering, and it'll bush out more bushier growth for you, and just hold back them flowers for a little while. But eventually these little guys will flower and die. They are annuals. Now we get lucky here in Florida because we can grow a lot all year long. Look at that little seedling. So we do grow a lot all year, and we collect the seeds once it does flower, which I have videos on that for you guys if you want to go and check them out. It's under my playlist of saving seeds throughout the garden. And then I feed these little guys. See, this is really small, so that's the first set. Now this set is, you don't count. This is what all plants get at first. They're called cotta something. I forget the technical name for them, but it's just the first set of leaves that all plants get. And then you get the second set, which is the true set of leaves. You want to wait till there's 3 sets, and then you can pinch that guy back. Now once I pinch back and they start getting to this size, I start feeding with, which this is like 3 to 4 weeks from seed. So from little seedling, once it starts popping out of that ground, you can start counting. You can count from that stage, or you can count from this little stage. It doesn't really matter. You'll just be off a couple of days, and that's fine. It's not going to hurt the plant. So once we get to this little seedling stage, we would definitely want to feed with some grow nutrients once every 2 weeks or so. I use a nutrient in my soil that's just natural compost, so it has lots of nutrients in the soil and lots of organic matter from the garden. So I don't have to feed as much, but you do want to feed these like once a week if you're just using a nutrient system. I use my Dynagrow grow system once a week to once every 2 weeks at 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of water. And you can definitely spray the foliage with some magnesium along with that neem oil once a week to once every 14 days for a preventative. And that Epsom salt will definitely help keep this nice green color, keep them healthy. It's just magnesium it adds to the foliage, and you can use it in your soil as well once a week when you spray with that neem oil as well. And then you know, I use that like 1 tablespoon per gallon of water for my herbs, and then my veggies outside, I use it 2 tablespoons per gallon of water for those little guys. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you need any help, let me know. I'm always here for you. I love what I do, and I love helping you guys, inspiring you to grow more things in your home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time out in the garden. Bye-bye.